Hello and welcome into this week's edition of the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind show right here on Racing News Now. As always, I'm your host, Garth Allen. Thank you once again for joining me today. If this is your first time catching a Racing News Now video, consider going down below to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. On today's Cup Rewind, we're looking back at Sunday's 23rd Annual Auto Club 400. 200 laps, 400 miles around the 2-mile Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Our first look at the 2019 Aero Package on a 2-mile track. 4 cautions in this race for a total of 22 laps. First one came at lap 57 with debris off the 3 of Austin Dillon. Lap 61, shortly thereafter, just a couple laps after we went back green from the debris caution, we had a fairly large incident in Turn 2 involving Ricky Stenhouse, the 19 of Martin Truex, the 20 of Eric Jones, and the 42 of Kyle Larson. This also coincided with the stage break as it was so close to the end of the stage that they just called it the end of the stage. Kyle Busch would be your Stage 1 winner. Stage 2 concluded at lap 120. Kyle Busch would win that one as well. So for those of you out there that aren't Kyle Busch fans, it is looking kind of bleak for you. If you are a Kyle Busch fan, though, things are looking up for you. Final caution of the day came at lap 165 with debris in Turn 1 off the 43 of Bubba Wallace. 18 lead changes on the day among 9 drivers. Kyle Busch led the most laps, 134 of the 200 laps. That is a very large number. Very much looking like he is on his way to his 200th win across the top 3 series. 42 laps were led by Brad Keselowski. 8 laps went to Denny Hamlin. 7 laps led by Eric Almirola. 3 laps apiece led by Joey Logano and William Byron. 2 laps led by Ryan Blaney, and 1 lap went to Ricky Stenhouse. Alright, so let's get into your results on the day. Did Kyle Busch make it win number 200? He got denied yesterday in the Xfinity race when he dominated that race as well. Would it be the same thing in Sunday's Cup race? No, it would not. Kyle Busch picks up that elusive 200th victory across the top 3 series. He would not be denied in this one, picking up that 200th win. Just an absolutely dominating drive out there. So those of you that, and I know there's a lot of you out there that aren't Kyle Busch fans, for the 200th time you have been disappointed though. But for the Kyle Busch fans out there, your driver has hit a major milestone in this race. And there's been a lot of comparisons between this 200 wins and Richard Petty's 200 wins. There's really not a comparison there. Kyle and Richard have even both agreed on that there really isn't a comparison there. Between eras, between Kyle winning them in all 3 series versus Richard winning them in just the Cup Series. There's so many differences there that while Kyle's accomplishment is a big one, you can't really compare it to Richard Petty's 200 wins because they're just so drastically different. Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, 2 Penske cars there in 2nd and 3rd, Kevin Harvick in 4th, and the 3rd Penske car in Ryan Blaney rounding out the top 5. Very strong day for Team Penske, even if they didn't pick up the win. Rest of your top 10, Kurt Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Eric Almirola, and your pole sitter, Austin Dillon, rounding out the top 10. 11th through 20th, Chase Elliott in 11th, Kyle Larson just off all day. Never led a lap in this one, never really was a contender in this race whatsoever. A little scary as this was one of his better tracks for a long time and just really kind of off. 12th place for Kyle Larson. Daniel Suarez there in the 13th position, William Byron in 15th. Jimmy Johnson came home in the 17th position. 21st through 30th, Alex Bowman in the 21st position. Just a very off day for him. Last car on the lead lap. Ryan Newman in 22nd, first car 1 lap down. We see the 3 front row motorsports cars coincidentally right in a row there. Michael McDowell 24th, David Reagan 25th, and Matt Tifft in 26th. Bubba Wallace came home in 30th, 6 laps down after his incident late in the race. Final page 31st through 38th, Daniel Hemrick. Had issues late in the event. Had a fairly fast car, 10th in the first stage, but Unfortunately, bad luck struck and he came home in the 33rd position. Clint Boyer had some overheating issues late in the race, lap 130, and he ended up, because there were no starting parks and no early issues where anybody was out of the race, it does not look, it's not a good points day for Clint Boyer, coming home in the 38th position. No laps led, no stage points, just one single point on the day for Clint Boyer. And that's your results on the day for the Auto Club 400. So let's head over to the Media Center. We'll see what Kyle and his team had to say after this big win.
It's pretty cool. You know, the 200 deal is it's awesome. You know, it's important for people to remember. It's not my 200th win by any means. But it's cool to be a part of his career. You know, he's as good as they get. Probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't know how anybody could argue that. And just to be so close to that level of talent and help him achieve what he's achieved is a tremendous honor. And I don't take it lightly. I never have. You guys have probably heard me say that before. You know, get him to victory lane a few times and be a part of it on the Xfinity side, and a Cup championship, and a few Cup races, and now to be a part of his 200th win. I hope I'm there for 250.
After the speeding penalty, you guys got sent back. And then Kyle took his time, but he made a couple of really bold moves on the track.
I don't think he took his time. I think he was wheeling that thing. He made a couple of moves there where I just felt like, holy mackerel. He just really, with a passion, the way he drives the cars, appreciate so much. And we'd had a speeding penalty this year that he felt like it cost him a race. And I think just he's an unusual athlete that if there's anything in front of him and he's driving a race car, he's going to try and get it. And so that showed up today, I think.
Does it give you chest pains when he's doing that, going through traffic? I mean, he dove through cars that would like going through a needle, you know, threading a needle.
Yeah, it always, I'm amazed, really. And you just realize the passion and what kind of skill that takes. And so it was a great charge from the back. Here's the deal. I wasn't sure. Our car had been up front all day, and Adam had been adjusting on a car that was up front all day. And now for us to be in the back, I wasn't sure that we'd be able to handle traffic like that and get through there. But, hey, somehow Kyle was able to get it done. Adam did a great job. And I'm always, for me, when you see Interstate Batteries on that car today, just 27 years. They're our founding sponsor. Been with us. I called Norm and Scott today. They've been with us for 27 years and just great partners. And the thing about racing that I always like to emphasize, they're a huge part of our race team. And then you have Mars. We had Skills on the car last week, but the Mars Corporation is our major sponsor on that car. They play a huge role. They get along great with Interstate, and it's been a great partnership. And as everybody here knows, it takes a lot of resources to race cars at this level, and we're so fortunate with our race team. And then we got Toyota as a partner. So I just appreciate so many people get to celebrate this. I've been on phone calls talking to everybody at Interstate, everybody at Toyota, and certainly at Mars, and just thanking all of them, because that's what I go through. And I think about all the people back home. Coy and I are out here. We get to, obviously, from an ownership standpoint, get to celebrate this. Everything this year that's happened to us, JD, I feel like, is a part of our race team, and he's got a way to look down on us, and certainly everybody back home. We just all celebrate this, and it's a huge deal for us. When I think about it, JD spent 27 years of his life, occupational life. This is all he's done to build the race team. It's a huge emotional thing for all of us.
Kathy Brown pitting outside the box. Congratulations.
I didn't do that today. I sped. Just kidding.
I know. No, you didn't get penalized today for that. They say nothing's as special as your first win, but this 200th win has got to be very special. Going back, how do you compare your first win to this win today?
I don't know, that's so long ago. I remember a little bit about it, obviously, but just the I don't know. I mean, I think the emotion of it on the first one was way greater, just because it was the first one. I mean, my mom was in tears today. She was in tears on the first one. I don't know how many of the in-between 198 she was in tears for, but I'm sure there were a few of those as well, too. It's just been a crazy ride, and to get 200 here today at Auto Club Speedway is pretty cool. I mean, to bookend number 1 and 200 here at the same place, it's kind of crazy, on the same asphalt. This place hasn't been repaved, so that's been pretty cool as well, too, and just being able to win. That's what it's about.
All right, so let's take a look at your playoff grid very quickly here before we wrap up tonight. Kyle Busch, obviously, just padding that lead he's got right now in the playoff grid. First driver to 2 wins this season, 14 playoff points thus far. Your next closest driver in terms of playoff points is Joey Logano with 6. So Kyle Busch off to a very hot start this season. On top of the 2 race wins, he has 4 stage wins, which is why he sits at that 14 playoff point mark. Just an absolutely very hot start to the season for Kyle Busch. And the thing is, looking at the playoff grid right now, I think we can safely say that we have some dominant drivers here, at least early in the season. I don't know if this will translate to the rest of the season. Some of these guys might cool off here or there, but right now it really does seem like your top guys early on in the season: Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, and Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick may not have a win yet, but he's been very consistent thus far this season. 3rd overall in points right now. When you take out the playoff grid and just look at overall points, he is currently 3rd in points, 24 points back of Kyle Busch, and does have 2 stage wins thus far this season. So, and I think that first Kevin Harvick win of the season is just around the corner. Stewart-Haas Racing as a whole does not quite look as fast as they were last year, but they still do have that speed, and Kevin Harvick definitely is Kevin Harvick. So we're going to see that Kevin Harvick win come eventually. It's just a matter of when. No change really at the bottom of the playoff grid, other than Clint Bowyer has slid a lot, now down to 15th and only 12 points up above Ryan Newman in 17th. So he's got a little bit of a cushion, but not much. But again, we're very early into the season. We're only 5 races in, still 21 races until we finalize the playoff grid. So it not really a cause for concern here. As long as this doesn't become a habit throughout the season for Clint Bowyer to have bad races like this, I think Clint Bowyer will be just fine going forward. But that's your playoff grid following the Auto Club 400, and I believe that will do it for us today on this Cup Rewind. Pole position coming up probably this evening, once this finally goes up, 8 p.m. Monday evening, to recap everything that happened this weekend. We had a lot going on this weekend. Cup and Xfinity from California, World of Outlaws, 2 different races, Stockton and Silver Dollar. NHRA was in action from Gainesville. IMSA had the 12 Hours of Sebring. And I believe there was something else on there we were talking about as well, and I can't remember it off the top of my head. But we have a lot to talk about on pole position. So that is your source to get you quickly caught up on everything that happened in all the major forms of motorsports over the past week. So check that out, 8 p.m. this evening, Monday evening, for your quick refresher on this weekend. But if you haven't done it already, you need to go down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss a thing going forward from RNN. And while you're down there, why don't you hit that big thumbs up button if you like the video? It's much appreciated when you do. But at that, this has been the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series Rewind Show. I'm Garth Allen for Racing News Now.